Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about a nightmare scenario in the 2024 race where nobody is elected president in the days following election day. So we've been talking so much about the battleground states and how they could both produce a Donald Trump victory or a Kamala Harris victory come November, come election day. But there is a real possible situation, believe it or not, that hasn't happened in 224 years where nobody is elected president in the days following election day. And in fact, the House of Representatives has to decide the winner, Harris or Trump. Now, this would be an absolutely unusual scenario, but now more than ever, with the closeness of this race, it appears that this is possible. And I'm not talking about an electoral tie that I'm sure you've heard of many times before, right? This map could produce an electoral tie, or these three maps as CNN gives us. However, these maps are extremely unlikely, right? Michigan and Pennsylvania are not going to go red while Wisconsin goes blue. However, there's a different situation that could produce a contingent election is what it's called when nobody reaches the 270 electoral votes needed to win. That being the case of faithless electors. Now, you might have heard of faithless electors from the 2016 election. Now, it didn't matter because Donald Trump had way more electoral college votes than he needed to be president. So that resulted in a wide variety of electoral college members basically voting for random people. And you might be wondering, how is this possible? How can they do that? Well, it's the Electoral College, and apparently in many of these states, almost half of states, the electors in the Electoral College can just vote for whoever. So, yes, even if, say, Arkansas votes for Donald Trump in 2024, you could have some of the electors from Arkansas just vote for Kamala Harris. Now that's extremely unlikely because each party presents electors, right? They nominate and petition electors come the day when electoral college or the electoral college votes. So obviously that's unlikely. So they wouldn't vote for the opposite candidate, that's for sure. But as you can see, some electors tend to vote for random people. For example, in Hawaii in 2016, you had an elector vote for Bernie Sanders, probably an elector to the left of Hillary Clinton, a progressive that was mad about Hillary Clinton's nomination. They voted for Bernie Sanders. Or, for example, you had someone in Texas, an elector in Texas, vote for John Kasich, who's a more moderate Republican than Donald Trump. Clearly, you've got an anti Trump Republican there. So, this is a situation where, in a close race, if there is a situation of a faithless elector, it could throw things way off. So here are the seven core battleground states. Now there is again, very unlikely a situation where it produces a 269 to 269 electoral tie. However, look at this. This is a very this is a very possible situation. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania all go blue, while the Sunbelt states all go red. And as you notice, Harris is at 270 electoral votes. That's enough to be elected president. Look at how close it is, 270 to 268. Harris can't spare a single electoral vote, and then it would be a tie. So in this situation, if there is a single faithless elector who is a Democrat who was, nominated by their state Democratic Party to represent the party at the in the Electoral College, to represent Kamala Harris and their state in the Electoral College, if one of them goes off track, is sort of a hack, right? A hack in the in these candidates, right, petitioned to represent them in the Electoral College, then boom, Harris is at 269 and doesn't have the necessary electoral votes to be elected president. So this is more possible in this election, maybe than ever before, because of the closeness of this race, but also because something else where, this could honestly really throw things off. That being the war in Gaza, believe it or not. A this could be a situation where, in a deep blue state, right, where the state party isn't even thinking about the electors that they throw towards the electoral college, they're going to vote for Harris, right? Well, what if they get a very progressive elector to represent New York in the electoral college, and they silently, they didn't make this known before, but silently, they are extremely frustrated with the Biden administration, with their handling of the war in Gaza, and they refuse to vote for Kamala Harris. That is a possibility now more than ever because of the just unrest within the Democratic Party over this war in Gaza. So take Washington, for example. I'll take Washington because they are a progressive state, and they did have faithless electors. They actually had the most faithless electors of any state, that being four in the 2016 election. So they clearly have very loose laws about how electors can vote. So when you look at Washington, a very progressive state, you could have a very progressive elector, right? The state votes for Kamala Harris in the general election, but they have a faithless elector who makes their discontent with the Biden administration's handling of Gaza silent the whole time, and they simply cannot vote for Kamala Harris. Say, whatever they get to the electoral college and they decide to vote for someone like Rashida Tlaib. I don't know. Let me just add her in as a candidate, just so we could see this out on the map because it is extremely, extremely important. When we add her as a candidate, let's put her as green, obviously, since that does represent progressives. Boom, Washington, the rest of the delegation votes for Kamala Harris, but one single elector cast their vote for Rashida Tlaib because they cannot stomach voting for 4 more years of the handling of Gaza. And boom, Harris is at 269. Trump is at 268. Tlaib is at 1. Again, she's not a candidate, obviously. And nobody has 270. Now, it's not just whoever has the most electoral votes is elected president. No, that's not how the Electoral College works. It's whoever wins the majority. And majority is 270. So nobody wins majority. And it throws the election to what they call a contingent election. Now, this is where things get absolutely chaotic. This has not happened since 1800. 1800, that there were like three candidates in the race or something like that, and no one got to 270. Well, there weren't 270 electors back then, but whatever. No one got to the majority of electoral votes. So what they do instead, there's not a revote or something like that. There's no there's no laws permitting or there's no laws that can outlaw, electors voting for random candidates like Rashida Tlaib. So what they do is that they throw the election to the House of Representatives, like I said before. The House, just like that, decides who is elected president, which is just really stunning to see. Completely out of the realm of a true democracy, right, where the winner is decided by the people. Not only are the people voting directly for the president, and not only the popular, sure, Harris could win the popular vote, but Harris could even win the electoral college, and still the election is thrown to the House. And the House vote isn't even simple either. No, each state delegation gets one single vote. So that means that there are 50 votes total. So, yes, you heard me right. Wyoming gets one vote and California gets one vote. They have equal representation in this situation. Absolutely insane. So, and if there's a tie, if there's an equal amount of Democrats and Republicans, and no side refuses to, accept the other, and vote for the other party's candidate, then they simply do not cast a vote. Now, this is the situation after 2022, after the 2022 midterms. Now, in the case of 2024 in the House vote, I believe it'd be the incoming Congress that votes because this thing happens in January. Nothing would fundamentally change because in the end, Donald Trump would win. There are simply more Republican states across the Midwest. Yes, way less population, but again, in this situation, it doesn't matter. Each state delegation gets exactly one vote. So there are simply much more Republican states, as you can see here, than there are Democratic ones. By the way, this map is outlining the House elections from 2022, as I said, but if there are more Democrats or Republicans from each delegation. So yes, Democrats do have some important wins, like swing states like Michigan and Pennsylvania, but still, just look at all of these Republican states. You've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. That's an outright majority, even without Minnesota and North Carolina not casting a vote. So it'd be something like 26 to 22, not even that close, at least not as close as the Electoral College. So, wow, could you imagine this? If there is a single faithless elector who refuses to vote for Kamala Harris over the issue of Gaza, and it results in Donald Trump, number one, losing the popular vote again, number two, losing the Electoral College, and he is still elected the President of the United States. That would be an absolute nightmare scenario for the majority of the American public, right, who voted for Kamala Harris. And, people would be in disbelief, really. And I believe that we would be closer than ever to abolishing the Electoral College over the unrest over this situation where Harris, wins the Electoral College and the popular vote, and she still loses the election. I think we'd be closer than ever to finally abolishing the Electoral College in this scenario. But again, if it's going to happen, if a faithless elector situation is going to happen where it stops either candidate from winning, it would be this election, right? With Gaza, with the closeness of this election, right? The 270 to 268 could really be that could actually play out, right? If Harris carries the blue wall but loses all the Sun Belt states, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, that's a 270 to 268 map. So that can absolutely help happen. That is right in the realm of possibility. But what's more interesting is that faithless elector. And it could honestly happen with how the Electoral College is set up. If in these deep blue states that aren't even in point, it doesn't matter where the faithless elector comes from. It could be from a deep blue state, but it matters just as much if it's from a swing state. But if one of them is, thrown into this delegation to represent the Democratic Party in the Electoral College, right? Washington sends their 12 electors to the Electoral College to vote for Kamala Harris. One could be not necessarily a plan. It's not like they're planted there by the Trump campaign. Well, maybe they could be, but they're more of a hack, right? They're going there knowing they're going to shock everyone, make a name for themselves, and not vote for Kamala Harris and go down in the history books. I don't know, in their mind for good or bad, or if they whatever. I don't know what their mindset would be. Or if it's just that they cannot stomach simply voting for Kamala Harris. Maybe they could, when they were nominated to represent Washington and the Democratic Party at the Electoral College. But since then, with the war continuing, maybe they can't come January. I'm sorry, I don't know when they vote. Yeah, I think it's January, the Electoral College. But they cannot, stomach continuing this war in Gaza with the Biden administration's handling of it. So again, they could vote for Rashida Tlaib, just one of them, whatever. There could be two, there could be however many, but still, nobody would win 270. It would throw the election to the House, where Donald Trump would be elected the president elect. So, just a really shocking scenario, but absolutely in the realm of possibility. So, thank you all for watching this video. It was a fun one to make. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe down below. That helps out a lot with growing the channel. Comment what your thoughts on this are down below, and I will see you all next time.